Marfoogle the news. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the news. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the Marfoogle the news. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the news. What is going on, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. If you've never been here before, this is a live show. We're going to come back with all of the breaking news and a ton of weirdness right after this. All right. What is going on, you guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. If you've never been here before, this is a live call-in show. We also have our backup channel. Our main channel, Marfoogle News, 154,000 subscribers over on YouTube. Then, of course, we have this channel at 115,000, and this channel at 18,000 at DLive. And all of these families are joining together today to watch the show. Again, this is a live show. Anything can happen. There is a live number which you will be able to call underneath. That number is 224400-MARF. You'll want to press option 4 when you get there, and you will get Dex. We're going to bring Dex here in a second, but first I just want to show you guys and make sure that you know you can go to our website, marfooglenews.com, and it's actually organized by thumbnail. So when you see this thumbnail, you will want to click on it. You'll be able to get to all of the news that we have here today. We don't just talk about the news and show you a screensaver. We actually give you the news so you can go about your day and do what is important to you. And then when you're ready, you can go and it's all right here. So all of the tweets, all of the videos, everything is right there. By the end of the show, the caller info will be at the bottom, which means links, documents, videos, anything that you guys share with us, we end up sharing back out. So with that being said, let's introduce Dex, my co-host. Dex, are you there, and can we do a sound check?
Hello, Adam. I am here, and hello, Foogle fam.
So obviously, every single day, we have a ton of new things. We've got a lot of weird things going on with China, of course. We've had several just weird incidences over the past few weeks, including them cutting off all communications with gamers. In fact, their stateside, their gamers that are in China are no longer able to communicate outside of the country. A lot of people are saying, well, that's, millions of gamers that all of a sudden cannot communicate. And one thing that was being said, even by main sources, is that is probably because they were using that system as a last resort to communicate with other things, essentially dissidents getting through to the other countries. We do know over the last year, really it's over the last decades, that they have been spying on us. They've been taking technology. They've proven this. They know that they've taken designs for jets, $5 trillion jet designs and all sorts of things. So they're not our best friend, yet we've done business with them for a very, very long time. Not only have we done business with them, we were dependent on them. After this whole event happened, we realized that 90% of our antibiotics were actually being made in China, which is probably the dumbest thing ever. Have your enemy make life-saving pills that, actually keeps the economy and keeps everybody going, because if you get sick, you're going to need those. I didn't understand that. A lot of people didn't understand that. That's why right now people are cheering and yelling for change and saying, made in America and all this. But I actually do think that people are making very good points. If all of the media is telling you, hey, be mad at China, are they setting us up for something else? I've been saying this for a year and a half. I told you way back when I was a tiny channel that it's almost like they're telling us to they're basically getting us all red in the eyes again. Dex, what do you think about the fact that every media is pushing us to kind of hate China right now. And I'm not saying they're great people, but what do you think about that?
I don't know that I'm 100% on that the media is pushing it. I think that we're getting it from, it's almost being politicized. It's definitely being politicized from, the November outcome and what's going on between the two candidates. But, I definitely think that there is a pushback, at least from the not just the mainstream, but the mainstream people about China. And it's really frustrating to think about as more light is being shed on what the problems were, and more light is being shed on how much equality there is between the relationship we have between that country and our own. I think it's waking up a lot of people.
Well, so as far as some think that they are getting us red in the eyes to actually be looking at them because they are preparing us for a conflict. They want the country behind them when they say, oh, these guys are the bad guys. We want to go to conflict with them. I don't think anybody wants a conflict with China that is on the lower end. Some would say, why would they want war with such a strong country? And some would say, oh, they're not strong compared to us. Either way, some would say that there's nothing good that would come out of a war with China or a conflict with Russia. And if you have both of those at the same time, there's things that say that we are preparing for that, as far as all sides giving each other almost a chance to set up and prepare for this. The DHS all the way up to the DOD, different notices that they've been sending out saying that, the 6 or 7 countries that are not our best friends are doing things behind the scenes. We've had weekly interactions with Russia. That's essentially, that hasn't gone away. That's why I said last time that jet came in and did that showboating right above our bomber. That doesn't surprise me, but as far as China continuing to work on Spratly Island through all of this, they're not stopping any of their stuff. They're expanding, they're shipping stuff out there. It looks like they're, shipping massive stuff out there. And then, of course, you have the super carrier just last week caught fire. It was a humongous fire over in China. Just a lot of weird things going on. It almost could have been, you never know if that was sabotage or something by a spy. We don't know. They have one super carrier and it caught fire.
Well, Adam, I will say this. The one thing that does make a lot of sense is the economic side, right? And that's probably a reason for a conflict to break out. I don't know that we would start it, but we would definitely start the economic side, right? They may start the conflict side. But, the deficit between us and them, like I did the math the other day, it's like $1,600 for every American is how much we buy from their country. And $40 for every one of their citizens is what they buy from our country. I mean, that's just a huge inequality. And it's been that way forever.
So essentially, we are dependent on them. They are not dependent on us. And the few things that they are, which is one of the main ones that was pretty surprising, is soy. They actually import a lot of soy from us. We export soy to them, which is kind of funny, and that's a huge staple in their country. So what happened about a year and a half ago or a year ago was that Russia had all of this land, and they said that they would give it to China for free if they used it for farmland. And what are they doing? They're actually going and using that land, and I think it was close to Siberia or it was an area in Russia, and Siberia is pretty cold, but it was land up in that same kind of region, and they were giving it to China if they were to grow food and to grow plants. So what does that say? Well, it says that they are trying to cut us out of the loop and not be dependent on us whatsoever. You've got Russia disconnecting their internet from us and doing it it was all of a sudden. They essentially 1 week said, we're thinking about passing a law that would separate our internet from the world. Within about a week and a half, they go, we've passed the law. And I think it was actually less than that. It was like 3 days, but the first test didn't come for a couple months. And then within a year, they did 2 massive tests separating their internet completely and being on an intranet, which essentially means they are going to be on their own grid of internet, and they don't need the United States. They don't need Google. They don't need anybody else. They've got all of their stuff set up. And then you've got weird things with this platform making, this platform's daddy making stuff for China, like, what was it, Dragonfly, I think it was called. It was a search engine that they were making for them, but that was essentially censored. So lots and lots of weird things. There's also lots of weird things going on in space. Regardless of this event that is happening, they are still launching stuff. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. It says New York Police Department taking soft approach to CV-stricken perps who spit on others. Yeah, that's right. So they're apparently not doing much, some say. It says the coronavirus has given criminals a new deadly weapon, saliva. Spit-slinging sickos are declaring they are infected with CV and spraying their targets with sneezes, coughs, and sputum. I hate that. Is probably the worst word in the world. It says, B, now you have CV, says Jason Mason, 28, told New York Police Department officers last Wednesday when he spit on them from inside of a holding cell. It says cops said he was collared after being caught with a knife in a suspected drug deal. In a possible hate attack, 3 Hasidic teens purposely sneezed on a Muslim firefighter, Omar Satire, in Borough Park last month. The Post learned Satire tested positive 9 days after the incident, which was never officially reported to the police by the fire department. So they're not. It said the feds took a hard line on the disturbing trend in a recent letter to law enforcement officers and U.S. attorneys across the country. It says, because CV appears to meet the statutory definition of biological agent, such acts potentially could implicate the nation's terrorism-related statutes. So they can say that you are a terrorist and then throw out all the books. Dex, we've kind of covered this before, but if they call you a terrorist, then they can throw you in Gitmo with no trial, and you would just disappear off the face of the planet. You understand that they could technically do that. I
definitely understand what you're saying there, and I also think that this is probably going to usher in new tools. So you think about the tools that our law enforcement use today with outside of a bang bang, they have tasers and things. We've seen in other countries, and we saw, I don't know if it was an exhibition video or if it was a real video where they took a person down with a long stick and a net over their head, right? I can just see that if this becomes commonplace, that there's going to be different tools that are going to be used in public with our law enforcement to protect them.
Well, remember the human fork that China was using? Let me just, in fact, probably find my video. Let's see here. Fork Marfoogle. Yeah, there it is. So this was my video I did on this last year, and it talked about these things, and essentially it was a kind of a human fork thing that this guy would come in with. In fact, it's pretty cool that don't get a copyright for playing this because it's mine. Oh, you know what? This is hilarious. This is on like a website. This is on drop.space. I don't know what website this is, but they have my video. Again, I would look at this. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Anyways, so this video shows these human forks being put into play, and we thought it was kind of weird then, but now it's almost like, look at how long they are. They're about 6 feet. Chinese riot police have been seen training with terrifying giant fork devices aimed at controlling rioters by pinning them down to the ground. Whoa. Loud. Terrifying giant fork Chinese forces prepare to use on Hong Kong protesters. Now, in my opinion, isn't that crazy? Again, you see these, and they're 6 foot long forks that are, shaped to essentially grab people. What do you think those were being practiced with? Were they preparing to do stuff like this? And then we saw what they were doing with people when they did that. It was very weird that kind of stuff was there back then. So not only that,
have tasers in them or tasing technology. In them?
So I never confirmed that, but from the one video, the guy kind of shook and then came down. So I'm assuming yes. Yeah, it's been probably a year since we covered that, but. Saying that you are a T or is, they don't have to have video proof to do that, right? Especially if they claim you're that, they can just say this happened, have 2 or 3 police officers say that you did it, and then all of a sudden that person disappears off the face of the planet. So if they don't like somebody or somebody is doing something that they don't like, technically right now, and I'm not saying this would happen, they could do that, and they could take them out and just, they hop in a van and poof, gone. I know that sounds crazy, and it probably is, right? They're probably not going to do that, but at the same time, it is very possible now that they are looking at these like this. What was it? Russia said that you would get a year in prison if you went outside your home shelter order, and you would get 5 years, or I'm sorry, a year if somebody else got it, and you would get 5 years if somebody died from it. So you would get 5 years in a Russian prison if you infected somebody else and they passed away. So really crazy stuff there. This is even more nuts. So they're actually training dogs to diagnose the bug and could screen 750 people an hour. What is in this that the dogs can smell? That's what I want to know. This is absolutely like dystopian and scary. It says these dogs are trained to sniff out the CV, and if the world-leading project is a success, they could screen 750 people an hour. Medical detection dogs have already been trained to detect diseases such as cancer, Parkinson's, and malaria. Okay, one thing I'm thinking about is how they have installed all of the nuclear detection devices in dumps and all of these other things. Dex, do you remember when we were covering how they're putting in all these testing devices for nuclear?
Yes.
Can't dogs sniff different devices like that?
Yeah, they certainly have a much more wider range of things they can sniff than we can. They have more receptors. So I guess it depends on if there is if there's something to actually be smelled, right?
It would probably be the trigger or something that is a part of it. So whatever chemicals they can have them smell it over and over again, and then say, hey, find this. But with this, that's pretty nuts that they are saying that dogs would be able to smell it. That seems kind of crazy to me. It says the CV project, or the CV-19 project, the only one of its kind in the world, is a collaboration between the Medical Detection Dogs charity, the London School of Hygiene, and the Tropical Medicine and Durham University. I would bet you guys, if you looked into all 3 of these, that there might be some weirdness behind it. Owners, boards of chairmen, that kind of thing. Take a look. I would love to hear what you guys find. Army Corps of Engineers to convert DC Convention Center into makeshift hospital. Okay. There is some weird stuff going on here, especially considering the people on the ground reporting from there are saying something completely different. It says the Army Corps of Engineers is set to build a makeshift hospital in the nation's capital to help with the CV efforts. The Corps will transform the Walter E. Washington Convention Center in Washington into a 500 to 1,500 bed hospital. Lieutenant General Todd Semonite, the head of the Corps, told reporters on Friday. Do you think if you live there in Washington, I would love to hear what you actually think about that. Is it, how is the situation there? Give us a call, especially considering that's the same place that they're supposedly trying to get all of these officials out of there, saying that they're trying to get people evacuated out of the Capitol. And of course, that was a rumor. So again, before I even get further too, because we don't know. Sometimes when we say things like that, we got to be careful. Let's see here. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else who helps with the shows, including my wonderful mods. And you should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. So we try to say that because, honestly, at this point, even mainstream in a week could turn out to be absolutely bogus. We have no idea at this point. But we do back up what we say, and we try to give you a bibliography of every single thing that we show you, and then you can actually have access to it. Our show actually takes hours to make, whereas others just kind of put an article on screen. So thank you guys for those of you that are supporters. Which, speaking of which, Dudio, thank you for the lemon. Latchkey Kid, Short Giraffe, thank you, Short Giraffe. Thank you for the lemons. Snapper B, thank you for the lemon. Rozzy, thank you for the lemon. Reed Storm says, Marf, the asteroid debris is coming. You know, even sentences like that send a shiver down my back, because there's part of my head that still thinks that there is something very, very spooky coming our way. I know for a fact that if they're putting money into it for recovery from debris, then that's not a good sign. Tuck Pup says, sorry, Adam, but Marfoogle, Dex, and the fam are my medicine. Don't worry, I won't sue you. Thank you, Tuck Pup. And then Reed Storm, appreciate that again. Thunderbird, Key Shara, thank you for the ice creams. And then Tuck Pup, although they are also trained to blind commands to hit based on the owner's signal, controversial. You know, another thing is, like, are they 100% accurate with that as far as, like, you know, freak somebody out if they said, oh, you have Parkinson's, but they don't. Kelly2334, thank you for supporting. Daffins, thank you for Dalafins, thank you for resubbing for a month. Appreciate that. And then Surge3, thank you for being here. And of course, Dafflins, thank you for gifting them a sub. Latchkey Kid 78, loving the show tonight. Thank you so much. All right, so to get into it, let's see here. Beaches in Florida will start reopening this evening. So tonight, these kind of stories obviously have us all pumped up. Everything's reopening. Everything is all good. That's not really the case, is it, Dex? And you know, you're down there.
Yeah, no. And then as soon as they did, they were already crowded immediately. It just scares me. Like, will something, will it, we see the second surge because people get more freedom.
Well, and, or will they put more restrictions because they do that, so then everybody goes out. They know that every single person was going to rush down there, and then all of a sudden you are on a stricter lockdown, and the news story says we're on lockdown because everybody took advantage of the beaches and thousands of people were crowded. And of course, now we have to lock down the whole state for another 4 months because it started all over again.
And it's interesting, like, Florida's got their own, they got their own peninsula, so it's their own citizens they're worried about. But, you go up north and you've got some of these smaller northern states up north where one beach opens, every state next to them is going to come flying into their beach, right? And they don't want that traffic. So they got to figure out how to coordinate with the states that are all along those beaches up in the Northeast.
Yeah, no, I've been to Florida, and it's a really beautiful place, and I can only imagine that, the beaches would be kind of a main study, especially if they're saying, here they say you can go hiking or you can go to a trail, but a lot of the public parks are closed. So it's like, well, how are you going to get to the trails if you can't go to the parks? But again, there's still a lot of that there. In Florida, the beaches are pretty much everything. I mean, that is Florida. People go to Florida because it's like, it's Florida. It says beaches in Jacksonville, Florida will start reopening under a restricted schedule this evening following President T's announcement that states must decide themselves when to reopen. Beaches and parks in Jacksonville are set to reopen at 5 p.m. on Friday evening with restrictions for essential activities only. Okay, wait a second. So what is essential on the beach? Like, I have to get a bronze color. I don't get that. All right, so will you be going to the beach? Let me know in the chat below if you're in Florida. Let me know if that actually happened like that. Governors feel heat to reopen from protesters and president. It says stores in Texas can soon begin selling merchandise with curbside service. And hospitals can resume non-essential surgeries in Florida. People are returning to a few beaches and parks, and protesters are clamoring for more. Governors eager to rescue their economies and feeling heat from President DT are moving to ease restrictions meant to control the spread of CV, even as new hotspots emerge, and experts warn that moving too fast could prove disastrous. I would really love to hear what you guys think about this, as far as what if they just let everybody get it and then we lost 1 out of 12 people or whatever they say the numbers are, right? It's almost like the people that end up surviving it have an immunity. We get past it. Is that how some people are thinking right now? I mean, is there people that, think like that? I thought I was pretty messed up in the beginning. Just say everything was true, that, what they say, and people were not caring that it was only old people. And I don't know what, after knowing people that actually got diagnosed and, secretly kind of taken under, they didn't want anybody to know that this person died of it. They were young, strong as an ox. I mean, this guy was in his mid-30s and just strong and healthy as you can get. And he passed away from it, and he had no prior, existing conditions. But again, then that's where other people come in and say, well, they didn't, they had something else, and then they labeled it that, which now there's a lot of senators, there's news, there's lots of stuff coming out, which again, we'll probably talk about on our next D-Live only show. Got a lot of people over on YouTube. Thank you guys for just being here every time. Herd Bowl, thank you so much. I've never, in the 2 years I've been on here, I've never seen somebody do an $11 super chat, but thank you so much. Carrie, thank you for following. T. Fisher, you have been here for a very long time. Says, sorry, I can't do more. Haven't had a paycheck in 9 weeks. Well, then keep your stuff and don't do any more. Thank you, though. Susan Donahue, courage is contagious. We are #Team Humanity. Ruderick, thank you for following. Awaken AZ says, was stationed in Guam, something big going on. Okay, so Awakened AZ says, was stationed in Guam, something big going on. Thank you for your service. Keep up the great work. Stay safe, everyone, says Sandy Stamps. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you. And then we have Becky Trombley saying, hey, Marf and Dex, thank you for that's for all you do. Well, thank you so much. Scott Zarling, Pooches, in the know, Meg Park GV, Martha Beller, Freddie Castro, Patrick Redmond, Woods Walker, Trapper Dig-a-Hole, Carol Holstein, James Belding, Timothy Chanel, and F. Prododugu Golf. Oh, Prodova Golf. And Marjorie Churn. Thank you guys for all subscribing just now. I try to get to you guys as you subscribe, but I can't do it that fast. Kimberly Thompson, thank you for subscribing just now as well. And then we have, it says exclusive. Amazon deploys thermal cameras at warehouses to scan for fevers faster. That's a tongue twister. Deploys thermal cameras at warehouses to scan for fevers faster. It says April 18th, Amazon.com Inc. is started to use thermal cameras at its warehouse to speed up the screening of feverish workers who could be infected with CV. That's what they told Routers, at least. It says the cameras, in effect, measure how much heat people emit relative to their surroundings. They require less time and contact than forehead thermometers, earlier adopted by Amazon. So they're actually putting these cameras, thermal cameras, in their workspace. That doesn't sound too fun to work around, having cameras watch you at all times. Pretty nuts, though. Let's see here. If you guys want to support us in a different way, again, EMP Shield is something that everyone should be looking into. DHS has been right several times. They have put out warnings that have a lot of them come true. Essentially, their worry now is that our grid is not strong enough. They said back in September of 2018 that we need to harden our grid and that every American should have 6 months to a year of food to prepare for a power grid down situation. Now, if you don't get this through us, we highly encourage you to go through a different creator, go to the website, go and get one, because even if the grid does not come back on, this will protect your devices. This will protect your car, your solar system, your generator. All of those things can actually be protected from all three phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3, and coronal mass ejections up to 228,000 amps. That's, solar flares from the sun up to a huge amount. Again, that even protects from lightning. So if your house just got struck by lightning, it's about an eighth of the cost of a deductible. So either way, it is a good purchase. This, I believe, will save lives. I hope that you guys, if this ever happens, of course, and it says marfooglenews.com/EMP is where to get it. So make sure to follow that. And again, a part of that goes to us. We really appreciate your support, and we'll like to see you there. Now, it says eerie photos show flocks of vultures circling over empty New York City amid the CV pandemic. Now, it looks like the picture didn't load, so let me try to reload this. Let me try to get to it, because let me try to open this up real quick. Okay, check this out. If it ever loads. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Super loud. Let's see here. We'll just go to the actual one. Check this out. If we can get the frickin' pictures. Oh yeah, so check this out. These are vultures. Those are not eagles. Those are not bald eagles. They are literal vultures. If that isn't an omen, I don't know what the heck is. Vultures above New York City. Does that mean it's actually as bad as they say it is? I don't know. But do people see vultures in New York City a lot? Is that something you've ever seen? Do you live in New York? And have you seen this? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Did you see the one photo, Dex? It's above the hospital ship, the Comfort. Like, you've got to be kidding. That is the creepiest thing ever.
Yeah, isn't it? I got chills when I was watching that.
They're literally floating above the Comfort. Wow.
And I don't know if you read that part yet, but like they're trained, or not trained, but they're instinctively, they smell, right? Kind of like we were talking about the dogs earlier, right? So they hone in on that scent of death, right?
Oh, that is creepy. I'm sorry, but that kind of thing, that's too much. That is flippin' freaky. What do you guys think about that? I would literally love to hear what you guys think about that. Give us a call at 2244-00-MARF. Honestly, that is spooky. And again, I've heard stories and I've heard, things about vultures and how sensitive their skills are. And it's pretty crazy. I mean, they can literally smell rotting flesh from a long, long, long ways away. And where does a vulture hang out outside of New York City? I mean, like, how far did they have to come? That is absolutely nuts. All right, and then Air Force Academy graduates, class of 2020, with in-person address from VP Mike Pence. So we did a video earlier talking about the fact that he randomly had his schedule changed from a video conference to an actual in-person meeting in Colorado Springs, which, Dex, if you can, explain why that kind of, rang some bells for us. If you're there.
Okay, I'm back, Adam. I'm sorry I missed that.
Explain why it rang some alarm bells that Mike Pence ended up turning and they changed his plans.
Oh yeah, I mean, so this whole notion that he was not traveling, he was not going to be going to give the commencement speech in person. He was going to do it via video conference until the last few days, and then they decided, hey, we're going to send him out there. And so he goes out there and he's going to Colorado Springs, which, okay, he's going there for the Air Force Academy, and it was great commencement speech. But then the other thing you got to think about is what's right next door. What is there in Colorado Springs? And that is the entrance to Cheyenne Mountain, right?
And it's where NORAD and Cheyenne Mountain, one of the largest bunkers and one of the most secure bunkers in the world. It's where they say all of the military leaders are. And that totally adds to the whole fact that just yesterday and the day before they said that there was a secret National Guard mission of getting all of the government, the continuity of government, out of Washington, D.C. Why did they do that? Why are they setting up field hospitals there? That's what kind of makes me think.
It's brought a lot of attention too. Even the press was asking at some of these conferences, in the past few conferences, they've even brought it up. Why are you both still here? Why are you both together? Are you concerned about, transmission with you both being together, right? Why are you not separated? So I guess the thing that bothers me, or the thing I'll be watching for, is to see, does he show back up, right? Like, do we see him tomorrow in Washington, or do we not? And if it goes Monday or Tuesday, then I'll really be wondering.
Because so if you're still lost, if he went to Colorado and then he secretly could have went into the bunker along with the rest of our military leaders, which are in there for sure. We know that they went in, they said, we're not going to tell you when we're coming out. They still are in there. They were hiding, and people were like, why are they putting them in a nuclear bunker for this virus? And they said it was because, we have to make sure that we have our command running and everything throughout this, no matter how bad it gets. So it still kind of says the thing like, this has got to be much, much worse than they say. But then, all of this stuff is coming out. Now they're guiding us, and even mainstream is kind of guiding us that this isn't as bad as they say, but yet they keep showing us, and they keep, giving us these little tiny things like military is going into bunkers. And then Mike Pence goes right to where the entrance is. Did they drop him off? Do you know what I mean? Do they have a stunt double or something? They have two beasts, Air Force One's equivalent of a limo. They have two of those identical, and they always have two going. They always have two Air Force Ones, so there's always a second dummy plane, going somewhere. Did they send him there, and then is a dummy Mike Pence going to get on the plane, somebody who looks like him, and then go back, and then really they've got the vice president in a bunker? That's why we said earlier, like, it could have been proven, wrong in, tonight or tomorrow. If he's at the White House in the Rose Garden tomorrow, then our point is completely thrown away. But with everyone saying that there's something going to happen tomorrow, and then again, we found the near-Earth objects that there today and tomorrow. We have a really close call with this one. Let's see here. April 19th. Let's see here. Wait a second. It's weird, Dex. The same article that we had doesn't have that one here anymore. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's probably because the time has passed. So you're gonna have to. Somebody would have to look this one up on their own. Are you? I'm sorry. Are you talking about the NEO?
Yeah, the one from tomorrow. Is
Yeah.
this one? I think this might be.
So
it.
yeah, it was coming in at around 6:30 Eastern time, based on GMT time, which I think was what was cataloged in there. But the other thing, that it was also flying near our moon about 4 hours later. So that would be actually no, it was more than that. It was like 6 or 7 hours later. So probably in the next hour and a half, it will be closest to the moon.
Again, one of the things that has been said time and time again is that it's not actually that there's something that might not be hitting us, but might be hitting the moon. And if we lose the moon, we lose Earth, or at least some say. This isn't it either. You can go look at the video from a few hours back, and it's actually a completely different one. I'd love for you guys to call in if you have information that you want to give us. The number to call is 224400-MARF.
Yeah, and just to be clear, that's not the only one. I mean, we've got NEOs on another one on the 19th, which is a different one, GZ2, and then we've got a really close one coming in on September, I believe.
Yeah,
May in September.
And we have all of the links for these. They are going to be in tonight's show. You can go to marfooglenews.com if you guys want to track that. In fact, let me show you here. You will actually be able to go to our website and see right here that there are all of the links right there. All right, and then let's see here. Oh, okay. This is perfect. Perfect timing to show you this. If you guys are missing notifications, somebody said that they got my notification from YouTube about an hour ago for the show we did this morning. So make sure to get our notifications. Part of what you guys end up donating for is for systems like this, so we can notify you guys and get things out. We actually have our own push notifications. Website notifications are now available. Works with most all browsers and Android. iOS is coming soon. Look for the prompt and click the bell in the bottom right-hand corner. So make sure to look for this red bell or the little white box that says Marfoogle News would like to send you notifications. I block all of those. But if you guys want my notifications, I would push allow. The only thing it does is it actually sends you when we're going live, and it does it on time. That's the most awesome part. It might even work with some browsers through an Apple, just not the Apple itself. So you can do it. Most people, though, I believe, have Android. And that's not because they don't like Apple. I know Apple people are like, I love my Apple. It's because they're expensive, and not everybody can afford an Apple, including myself. Okay, and then let's see here. NASA to launch astronauts. NASA to launch astronauts from U.S. soil for the first time in nearly a decade. That's, of course, with the help of Elon Musk's SpaceX. So this is what they said they're doing. A lot of people have emailed me and showed me the video of their SpaceX's rocket that flies up and then lands. When people said that looked like CGI, I was like, really? But then I watched it. I'm like, it really does. Dex, I don't know if you've seen that video, but it actually kind of does look like it was just straight up CGI'd. The rocket goes back down and then lands. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, that one's really interesting. It'd be more interesting if we all got to see it ourselves, if they landed it. And I know they claim to have landed it on land, not just out in water, but certainly would be good for us to see it, like, as spectators.
Well, I could think that would actually make sense if they were going to land something in the water. That might even be possible, right? I mean, you come down and then have jets just kind of go the opposite way.
Well, no, that's what they do. They land it on a platform in the water, right? It's like a floating platform, and they hit the target, and I don't think there's anybody on it, and then they go out and retrieve it.
See, technically I could see how that would be possible. I mean, if you had the science right and the jets right, it's just the video that they actually showed was just, it looked funky. NASA and SpaceX are targeting May 27th, which is really weird. Isn't that floating around the weird date that everybody is talking about? It says targeting May 27th for the launch of Demo 2, the first launch of NASA astronauts from the U.S. since 2011, 9 years ago. Back when, what's-his-face, canceled everything. NASA and SpaceX are targeting May 27th for the launch of Demo 2, the first launch. It says, as its name implies, Demo 2 will be the second time the company launches its Crew Dragon capsule to the International Space Station. But unlike Demo 1 last year, this time 2 astronauts will be on board. A pair that will be the first NASA astronauts to launch from the U.S. since the end of the Space Shuttle program in 2011. And, I don't even understand whatever happened there and how, the space program was always a part of our, country's pride and everything else. I don't know how the previous president, figured out to do that. I
think they wasted way too much money, right? And the cost of the shuttle, which in the early days, it was economic. But then as it advanced, it just got so expensive to maintain. And then they had too many tragedies that they spent more and more on it, right? And it just got out of hand. And you could send a person up on a Suez rocket from Russia for a fraction of the cost.
Well, sometimes you sound like the MSMs gotcha, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But I look at it and it's like, okay, well, you've got private sector involved now as opposed to NASA. Right, and so supposedly,
do you think that's because they were
better.
wasting their
Maybe
money
I'm
on
even
crap?
more MSM when I say that, but
do you think that they were wasting their money on their own pockets? Is that why they didn't have money for it?
Yeah, and they were wasting it on too much policy and nonsense, right? I mean, just too much red tape. Can you imagine how much red tape gets put on the red tape at NASA? Yeah,
no, and I've seen it where they did like 14 permits for this one stupid thing that they did, changing a piece of the thing. And I read an article that it cost like $55 million to put in essentially a little brick wall. And it's because of the permits.
Or like what, a $50,000 hammer or something. I mean, it's just like stupid things like that where you go into a business where they, a corporate business, and they tend to run things a little bit more leanly because they pay attention to the bottom line and profit. Doesn't mean they're always better, but looking at the business sector coming in and trying to do that and competing, and then you have competition. Now you've got, not just Elon, but you've got Bezos and others, and they're all in, what's his name out of the UK? Richard. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, no, Richard Branson.
Yeah,
Branson.
Yeah. You've got all of these guys competing for it, right? So that just makes it even more lean and more innovative and cost less, and presumably cost less, right?
Yeah, no,
But this is a monumental thing, right? At the end of the day, like, we haven't been up there. We go up all the time. We go up with Russians. Like, this will be really a good deal, I think, from a patriotic standpoint, to say, hey, we've actually launched from our soil again.
Well, and that's the thing too, is for the people, even with all of this going on, we're still doing things that kind of bring back America. So I'm sure there's a lot of people kind of stating that, like, America, I don't know. So we'll see what happens with this. We'll watch it. It says NASA has awarded SpaceX more than $3.1 billion under the Commercial Crew program. And it says to fund development of the capsule, with the company also contributing hundreds of millions of dollars of its own funds when needed. Boeing is also developing its Starliner spacecraft to compete for contracts, with the company having received more than $4.8 billion in awards since Commercial Crew began. Herd Bowl, I saw that. Thank you so much for your support. Susan Donahue, thank you as well. Scott Dixon. Okay, Scott, you don't have to do that, but thank you so much. But he writes, C equals 3, 0 equals 15, V equals 22, I equals 9, D equals 4, 19 equals 19. So I don't know if you guys saw that super chat, but he wrote out the event, COVID, and then did the numerical value or what those ones represent. And it says, start back whales with dates, work forward. CV19 started 9/4/22, and then according to this, it will end 9/4/22, or I'm sorry, 3/15/22. Mathematics always wins battles. That says Scott Dixon. So he's saying that there's some numerology there that could say when this will end. Addison Satterfield says this is all a cover up. Global economic collapse to strip rights away. If you don't own pew-pews, do so and get training in tactical fighting, bounding, concealment, cover, LP, op, etc. Addison, you are a badass. Thank you for that comment. I hope people got to read that. But again, it will be on the ticker next time. We always put those on the next show. T. Fisher again says, bruh, if your name was Marianne, I would give you my routing number and my CCs. If my name was Marianne. Let's see here. Jeremy Holla, thank you for subscribing. Carol, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the fam. Jeanette LaPierre, I haven't seen you in a long time. Or at least you haven't seen your name in chat. Says no testing going on for mosquitoes. I can't find any info anywhere, says Janette LaPierre. William Lee says check out Mr. MB333 latest video about an impact. I will definitely do so. I watch him on a regular basis. And in fact, the last one I probably saw was 3 or 4 back. Scott Dixon again. What the heck, man? It says California Bay Area going to get hit hard. Our tech companies are keeping us at home. Scott, I'm assuming you are a tech guy then. From kind of some of the stuff that you've said before. I'd like to see what happens with that. We're in Washington. Seattle is home to all of the tech. I mean, we've got Amazon, we've got Microsoft, we've got Expedia. We just got all these crazy companies here. And then we've got Boeing, all sorts of stuff. Alan Barbado, Wolves 55, thank you for your support. Cindy Harmon, thank you for subscribing. And welcome to the fam, Alan and Rudder C. Okay, and then let's see here. Man, oh man. Oh, okay. So Divine, Matt and DJ, Loose and Noodle, Type Girl, Space Monkey, Florida. Thank you guys for all the lemons. Joseph Johnson, what dreams may come? That's actually what I thought. I'm remembering that was a really good movie, but maybe that's because my brain was automatically, loved every Robin Williams movie. And do not ruin Robin Williams for me. I don't want to hear anything about it, at least not until the end of the show. Lady T 222 newbie here. Love you, Marv. I know that he that's pretty sad how he was I think all Hollywood people are messed up. Tuck Pup says numbers are the only constant in different dimensions. Eric Weinstein's geology physics theory. So numbers are the only constant in different dimensions. Eric Weinstein's geology physics theory. I had to read that again to try to absorb it. Joseph Johnson, thank you for the lemon. April Osborne, I'm finished with radiation. I'm cancer free. That is absolutely amazing. April, you are a big part of the fam. Joker, I didn't see it until later, but he was really behind you, and he was saying how to come over. In fact, multiple people had your back. Phil Billy said, hey, April's streaming, please come over. People really, really support you hardcore. So just so you know, we all love you here. Latchkey Batinator. Michelle K says, my recurring dream is missiles overhead. Ever since I did that dream episode, people have been sending me dreams, and it's really crazy because I can't read all of them, but I do. The ones that I have read, I'm like, I've had every one of those dreams. The silence, the watching TV and it goes blank. It really reminds me of the Greenland trailer. That exact moment where they're watching the TV on the Greenland trailer, and then he goes, "Where's the hit?" Because it doesn't show it. He's like, "Where's the impact?" And then all of a sudden it goes boom, and everything happens. Because when something hits, it will take a minute for us to even absorb it. Kelly2334 again, thank you. Class Newer, thank you for following. We've got a bunch of new followers over on DLive. Owner Salim, Global Impact, thank you for gifting a 1-month subscription. Thank you guys, appreciate that. CR the Mirror C, thank you for following. Got all sorts of people. Smart Kid 14, thank you for the lemons. Okay, let's get here. Global Impact 2008 6.2, 2020 7.8. Max population 9.5 to 10 billion. How long? Okay, so what he just put there says in 2008 our population was 6.2 billion. In 2020 our population was 7.8. Max population 9.5 to 10 billion. How long? So he's saying, how long do we have if our population keeps going up like that? That's a really freaky thought. You actually inspired me. I almost want to do a show on that. Thank you. This show is North Star to guide us, says Dafflins. Tuck Pup, cancer free. Yes. Lazu Lady, thank you for all the good information. Well, it's half of this information is coming from you guys. You really are amazing. 2.9 EQ in Colorado. Thanks for what you guys do. Smart Kid says. So we just apparently had an earthquake in Colorado. Yeah, I totally think that there's some stuff there. Hey, Zippy Moons, I appreciate you. So let's see here. Obviously, you can access all of this through our website. Man, oh man, oh man. And then don't forget. So tomorrow is our next show, which there might be a surprise here in the next 2 days. There is going to be a lot of stuff on Twitter. If you guys are not followed me on Twitter, you should be, just because that is another place where I can actually get stuff out instantly. Make sure to go to @Marfoogle. If you go to Twitter, if you haven't signed up, I'm sure there's a way to look at it without signing up on desktop. I don't know about on the phone. But make sure to follow @Marfoogle through our website. Oh, weird. Man, oh man, oh man. We've got Twitter people. And then don't forget, so tomorrow is going to, look at that. We're watching ourselves. There's no pause. There's only 16 of you over on Twitter. Hey, Twitter guys, I'm going to talk to you right now. Hey, what are you doing on Twitter? What you doing on Twitter, fool? Yeah, you. Look down. There's a tweet there with 2 links. Go to it. Click it. Join the chat. You loner. Okay. We're going to open up the phone calls. We're going to get through some crazy stuff. So let's see here. We've got Tuck Pup on live. You're live, Tuck Pup.
Hey, what's up, Marv? Can you hear me all right?
Yes, you're just fine. What's going on tonight?
Oh, man, I just wanted to say thank you to everything you guys do. I'll try and keep it brief under the 5 minutes here, but I called in a long time ago before things really blew up, and it's really good to be able to get through again. I've been trying for weeks, and so I'm happy to be here, man. I just wanted to touch on the Michigan piece with the protests, and so I'm going to slow down so I can keep my words clean per our deal here.
Okay, and by the way, I pulled it up. I pulled up the press release.
Okay, and that'll kind of, I'll tie into that, but I'll keep it brief. You know, I grew up in Michigan, and I have homes in Michigan, Montana, and have also lived in Minnesota. So I am a traveling person, and my job took a hit due to this whole situation. And so my plans are up in the air. But what I have to say about Michigan really is the people here were the first to go and set the stage and make a stance. And there's a lot of social angst based on the two sides of the higher ups that run our deal here. And it's unfortunate that I'm not saying this whole, cough deal thing that we're dealing with is not serious. I'm not discounting the severity of it. It's bad. I have a friend of mine who lost his dad today, who he was improving after 3 weeks of treatment and was scheduled to be discharged on Monday. And he got a call this morning, and he passed this afternoon. So I know that it's serious, but here's the thing. And I know that people go out and they got close together, and everybody wants to say it's a big support for Team Man or the opposite of what they agree with. The fact of the matter is, I believe, and this is my opinion, and I'm not political, so fam, I'm not trying to bash anybody here, but here's the thing is we have rights as Americans. And if we make a choice that we want to jeopardize our health to go out and protest our rights, I don't see that as an issue. And whether or not you agree with who they support, the fact of the matter is we all need to get together and support each other, because if things really hit the fan here and there's some stuff that, we're going to have to take charge of, it's not about who's on what side anymore. It's all about banding together to fight for the right to party, as the Beastie Boys would say. But it's not, it's important in the sense that I get so bummed out when I see people arguing about it. And really it's like, I take my precautions. I'm not here to hurt other people or to cause any problems for other people. And I take those precautions for others. Now, granted, I have to travel across the country, and I'm in a position where I'm not supposed to do that. So it's a double-edged sword. And like I said, the social side of it is just such a bummer, because it's so petty that we sit and argue over the high up political side of things. And I don't know if that's a catchword, but it's just unfortunate. And if we look at the bigger picture, and instead of trying to influence people to believe something, just kind of speak in the sense of enlightenment to open their eyes, because we can't open them for them. And so what you're looking at there is the press release from northern Michigan counties that aren't going to support it. And again, they implement proper precautions in those counties, but there's a great line in there that says, we believe we're the only piece that's protecting our civil liberties anymore. And with all the bash that police forces and sheriffs have gotten over the years, I mean, that's pretty powerful to me, because you don't have, they're fighting for the people again. They are protecting and serving, and they're not protecting and serving physically. They're protecting and serving towards our rights as American people. And that's what's important. And so that's my piece on that. And it's such a bummer, man, because I've been through some stuff personally, and this is a second chance at life for me. I've struggled with some things, and to hear you, Marf, get real about living under a bridge and having hard times and coming out and preaching the truth to people, man. I mean, that honesty and that realness is something that I wish more people were open to, and I'm open to it. And it's like, I've gone through some stuff, man, and life hasn't been easy, but at the same time, I'm not here to bring other people down. I'm just here to do better, to be of service. And I'm not politically swayed. This isn't an argument.
Well, by the way, that's only something I've said once, so you also pay attention. I think we should all be there. I've been here a while. I know that, and I want to thank you too for just being around. I think that's why I don't feel bad. Sometimes I get very irritated when I see somebody who can work harder, and obviously they say they can't do something, or they say they can't succeed, or they say they can't get out of the rut they're in. When I also don't see them put the work in to get out of that rut. So again, anybody can do anything, and that's my thought. Yeah,
and totally. And you know what? When the caller was in the other night, in Georgia, living in his tiny home, I have a school bus, and I do that from time to time, and that's the school bus is in the process of being converted. And I appreciate your music too. awesome musician. I love that stuff. I make music myself, but I just, my point to the fam and really backing you and Dex up, because the work you guys have done for years, it's just phenomenal. But to the fam, I don't like political discussions. I think there's a lot more going on that's above what we argue about in society, not so much us, but the rest of them. And, we're all here to say we're banding together. And I think that dropping that side of everything would really create a band.
Well, so essentially what you're saying is, so whether you're pro-life or pro-choice or whatever, this or that, or if you're a Republican or a Democrat, that's not really what the top cares about. The top doesn't even have a section. They care about whatever they care about, and it doesn't matter to them because they are whatever they are, and that kind of thing. So. Again, if you could tie in this immediate release from the sheriffs of the 101st House District, I get what you're saying, though, that, we're arguing about these smaller things when on the bigger scale, these people are running our planet.
Sure. And so, right. And that's just my piece. And I'm sorry to go off on a tangent. I'm just stoked to be on the show. But the 101st thing is just kind of a backup to show that, like I was saying about police, they've been getting bashed about different things for a long time. And so now they're coming out in counties in Michigan where the protests went down, because they understand that people need to go back. And so if this, and then Texas, I haven't looked on Texas too much, but the fact that we have sheriffs and local government and we're using our checks and balances system to kind of go to the top, that's a big piece. And whatever happens down in Texas, or if we continue this lockdown further on in the coming months, Wisconsin, I think, extended theirs till the end of May. And so if we continue on, and Wisconsin people, you can back me on that. I don't know if that's true, but my dad said it was. If we go on for that long, we're going to see a lot of this. And the whole dropping of the sides thing is just more so the fact that, like, if we get into a situation where everybody's upset, whether it's to mask up and stay at home or whatever, and we're all upset that we're not allowed to go live our free lives, if that's what it comes down to, that's when we need to band together. And if the sheriffs up here in northern Michigan are supporting it, where, they're pretty real, I think that if it happens in other states and then across the country, things are going to get really, really real. And, not out of fear, just out of the sense that, like, hey, there's a peace and contentment that comes with thinking about what could happen. And when it does, we're not worried because we've thought through that,
Well, Tuckbub, you've been around for a long time, and I know that where you're at, it's very important. Which, by the way, you've got something like you're wearing a lapel mic or something, and you're slapping it around. I don't know what's going on there, but something's hitting the mic. So again, I've got ADD, so sorry for calling it out. As far as ADD, basically you're a human being, right? You're a human being that's been conditioned by TV switching every 30 seconds. That's why we switch it like this. Switch, just to keep you, because nobody has an attention span anymore because of how they've trained us. But again, with this is the sheriffs. This document is coming out and saying that even the sheriffs are saying under these executive orders that they say, as a result, we will not have strict enforcement of these orders. We will deal with every case as individual. They're saying they basically are not going to do exactly what they're told. They're saying, we don't agree with this. We're speaking out. And that's pretty cool. I mean, you're seeing this all over the country. We've actually had some sheriffs reach out. We've had people in the community that are saying that they are fighting back against this, and they're saying, this is BS. Because they see the other
and
side
Mark,
of it.
Do you remember Bundy, the Bundy deal?
Yeah, that was here, I think. Right? Are you talking about the killer?
It was the cattle rancher guy.
Oh yeah. Different Bundy.
Yeah, he's out of jail doing the same thing in Idaho now, and set up church groups for Easter, and had the Idaho police. I don't know the details on that, but I know he's doing his fight back thing just like he took his ranches back. So it's it's food for thought, and I think it's very interesting, and that's my piece. I don't want anybody to say Michigan's crazy and they're infecting people, and it's like, yeah, that's possible. I think that those small business owners, if it's something they've worked for their entire life, it's just, it's like, if we're going to go broke and die, well, we might as well try and work and die. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know.
No.
They're fighting for what they've lived for.
Well, Tuck Pup, we went way over, but that's okay. You've been around for a long time. Again, I'm so glad to talk to you again. I know it's been a long, long time since you've gotten through, so I just wanted to make sure you got all your points out. Again,
sure.
Please call back again, and it shouldn't be that hard. You just got to call before we start doing the phones. Everybody that calls in early gets in.
I did that today, man.
Yep, that's what I say. People always wait until it is time for it, and then they wonder why they're not getting in. All right, well, thank you so much. You have a good night, Tuck Pup, and I can't wait to talk to you again, okay?
Yep, you too, Marv. Take care, everybody. Dex, peace and love, guys.
All right, have a good night. I don't, guys like Tuck Pup, he's worried about saying the wrong thing or offending people, and I don't blame him. It's a very touchy subject. But there's a real big part of me that completely, thinks about that Michigan thing and is kind of like right on. These guys are standing up against it. But then a part of me says, oh, well, all these people going out is infecting. What they did in Michigan, though, that was not bad at all. They were in their cars. I thought it was great personally, but that's just my opinion. If you guys disagreed with it and hated it, that's totally fine. You can share your opinion here and we can talk about it. I not only there, but as far as their sheriff's department kind of fighting back on that, I think that's something that we're going to see a whole lot more. That's the tip of the iceberg. That's literally like the pin on top of the mountain, as far as what is going to happen and everything else. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go to our next caller. Our next caller is going to be Jay Stone. You guys, she's absolutely famous. She once tackled a cow, I think, right, Jay Stone?
Maybe.
What is going on? Jay Stone is famous in the
Hey,
YouTube
Adam.
world. What is going on? Absolute pleasure to have you.
Oh, well, thank you. So last night, Snafu Snaps called in about something that he and I had been working on. And I wanted to, first of all, say thank you to him for letting me use his channel now, too, to get some of the things out that I want to, because I'm not really able to reach a lot of people on mine. So we've been working on some stuff, and I've really been researching a lot lately. And I wanted to add to his call that he called in about last night with the footage.
Yes. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, there was footage where the gentleman is talking about a DOD patent, and it is for a V scene that goes in and can actually take away Christian faith out of your brain. That sounds crazy, but that's exactly what the guy was presenting, and even the people there were like, "This is nuts. This can't work." But apparently, it is. It's totally real.
Right. It's totally insane. And there's a lot that everything connects, and I think that people find a piece of this and a piece of that. Because that's what I've been doing, and I'm really led and followed by the Spirit. And so, the things that come together in my mind is in times of prayer and things like that. So I've been putting some things together in my mind and my research and all of that going on. And to go with that, I sent a couple things in for you to show. The first one is a video, and I know you can't really play it, but these are the capability of these tiny nanobots and what they can actually do. And if you play the video, it shows them going from just like all over the place to they actually line up and they can direct them. And the way that this came about was it was Beethoven's music actually. And so he was deaf, and when they played his music, and I don't know, it's Symphony Number 5, I'm not really sure which one.
Are you talking about
all of these nanoparticulates?
This is like some Ghostbusters stuff when they play music for the slime, only it's nanoparticulates. Yes. They played Beethoven and lined them up. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's how they actually found it out. It was actually an accident. So they were playing Beethoven's music, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you guys can research it. And the nanoparticulates started lining up, and they could see by different frequencies, they could make them do different things. So first I want to tell people that fear is a frequency in itself. So if you're surrounded in the fear frequency, you're going to draw all of this stuff to you more. But, prayer is God's frequency. So that's where I stay all the time. But this really ties into, I don't know, we're on kind of a delay here and I can't really see what you're doing, but it's a video I think that everybody should watch because it goes along with, Snaps' call last night and a lot of the research. So these little teeny tiny nanobots, well, when you look up every day, we all know what we see up there, right? That's not supposed to be there. And that's been going on since like the 80s. So you take that and you couple that with the findings of how they can control the nanobots, and then you throw in, what they're trying to make us all do so we can, go back to work and all that. If you take those three things all together, they actually work together in this system that is is dragging people down, let's say. So the reason that they need to make us do or take, this thing, the Victoria, is because when we breathe something in or we eat it or whatever, it's ingested differently. It's broken down by the body differently. So they have to get something into our blood, and they can, and then you tie in this, really, really fast, IoT that they want us all so we can download a movie real fast. So you tie that in, and then you just have a big old mess because now once this is inside of us, they can play whatever frequency they want over their brand new, shiny, hidden in my palm trees, technology. And it can actually make these things in your body, which I saw some people talking about, Elon in the chat. Well, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so just to translate in here, and I know from military sources as well. So Jason, a lot of people, when they talk and they hear somebody say smart dust or nanoparticulates, they go, that person's crazy. In fact, we've even had some callers that I actually think that they weren't exactly knowledgeable about it, and they actually did sound crazy. Mm-hmm. But we're looking at a technology that they have now that is absolutely real. Mm-hmm. These are literal nano.
I said an article too.
Oh, it's crazy.
There's an article and it's got a picture.
They can literally control these things. This is new technology. I'll pull up the article. So I'm on the video and I couldn't play it, but I've been kind of going through screenshots of it. So go ahead.
They can go and play it. Yeah, they can go and play it. So I'm doing my research, and Renee Thomas, she sent me this article, and that's one of the article that I sent in about how small that these things are. Now, let me tell you something. This is very personal for me because I have found two of these now, one in my left arm, one in my right arm. The one in my left arm I found, and it's exactly what is on the picture if you pull up the article. I got it out because I just freaked out. Now, it looks like a one-dot tattoo. Now, I have not done a tattoo on myself or anybody since I did a Marfoogle tattoo, and then I did a Truthio tattoo. I have not touched myself. I know every mark on my body, and I dug it out of my left arm because I was like, oh, no, this is not okay. And it was actually like it was like graphite, the way that it came out. It was like little pieces of graphite. So fast forward a little bit, a couple months, I find one on my right arm. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? and it is absolutely foreign. It is a foreign substance, and it's exactly like this article that she showed me. And that's kind of why I've been doing all this research. So I have a family member, and I don't know if you've heard about the Morgellons, that the sickness that people get from, all the beautiful new clouds that they make us. I have a family member who has that in her body, and she's the only person that I've ever met or known with that, but I've seen a lot online. I watch her several times pull out of her body things that are very, like, it's like a foreign string of something, and it looks exactly like what we're talking about. Now, why it affects somebody, some people and not other people, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are dealing, all of our bodies are different, right? So that's why it's important to me, because I've seen it on my own self and I've seen it on a family member. And then you throw all of this, all of this research I've been doing, you throw this in with what the good book says, right? It says things like, men will want to die, but they can't. And, all these things. Well, I sent in another article. This is about the new patent that is 060606 patent. And it's making our body a device. Actually, it will be making our body a device. And so I take everything that I do or see, and I put it, against the good book. What does that say? Because that's where I want to be. And the more that I read, it is absolutely possible for them to have this, make us take this, have this in our body, be able to, turn on their great technology here whenever they do, and they can actually keep you alive. Okay. So when that book says they want to die and they can't die, well, why can't they die? Let's think about it in terms of, okay, what makes sense to our world right now? What makes sense? Well, the only way that you can't die is physically if somebody or something is keeping you alive, right? This all goes in together. Also, the SpaceX people are talking about, and all this, the Space Force, right? And all this money going there and going there. I really want people to look into something called 7D holograms, which could be where a lot of the money is going. All I know is that they are able to literally make the whole entire sky like a giant movie theater, put anything up there they want to.
Project Bluebeam.
We're going to have this invasion or that. And at that point, people will be begging for, whatever they can give them to just make it go away. Or, you see this big ship in the sky or whatever. And the fact of the matter is that I don't believe that that's going to be real. But most people will think that it is. And that's all they need. They only need us to think it. They don't need it to really be. So that's just my conjecture. I know there's a lot of different, ideas about what shape the earth is and all that. And that doesn't even matter, really, because the fact of the matter is they can make us think whatever they want. And once they have our mind and once they have us in the fear frequency, it's over. We look around our world right now and that's all that we see.
Well, think about this
They
too.
can propaganda. They can tell us anything that they want to.
Well, and think about this too. It would only take a couple generations. There's nobody over 100 years old. We're all in this technology phase. Right. They could have grown all of us. They could have put things in place to make us. I mean, this could be one big Truman Show. That's why there's so many theologists out there. None of us have been to space. None of us. Not one of us. That's here right now.
Exactly.
Except for people that we don't know.
Right, and even the people that have been, we don't personally know them. So, the thing is that everybody can have different views, but there's a lot of things that are universal views, that it doesn't matter, what this is or if you believe in this or if you believe in that, because the fact of the matter is that when you take all of these things that are going on, and I sent in another article to Dex about the patent that they made, when you take all of this into context, it literally fits together like a puzzle. And the way that I know if something is true or not is if it sits right in my spirit in prayer. And, that actually is way more important to me than facts or who saw what or who's been where, So I've just been putting all of this together lately, and it's pretty freaky. But at the same time, if we stay in that frequency, that good vibes, I say good vibes all the time, but I really mean it, that good vibes frequency, and say, out of the sphere frequency, we will be able to see what we need to see, is what I feel. And all of this, it really, really goes together, and it hits home for me because I've seen it in my body and in a family member's body. So,
so
I
by
really
the way,
wanted to tie all that into Snaps' call also last night.
Well, and again, the thing is the nano is 3 times smaller than micro. You're talking about something you can barely see, a little piece of dust, and in that dust, it actually has GPS technology. You're talking about GPS, capabilities in a little tiny piece of dust. This exists right now. This is a fact, and they can mass produce these. What do you think that they're going to do for this when they have a global agenda? It's pretty crazy.
I would suggest the movie Gamer. There's a movie out called Gamer. It has Gerard Butler in it. I just watched it with my family a couple days ago because it was really important to me that they got a visual of all the stuff I've been talking about. And my immediate family is the only family I have that doesn't think I'm completely cuckoo. So I had them sit down and watch Gamer with me, and it literally shows you, like they show you in the movies what is going on, right? It shows you about the nano dust and the particulates and what they can do. So if you haven't seen the movie Gamer, I highly, highly suggest that. It will put it all into perspective.
And I just want to explain, too, when you were talking about 70 holograms, I was showing you guys this picture, what they've done. And I know in Dubai, they are already doing this. They're having flying drones with police. Yep. They're having robots. They're doing all this stuff that just basically spending money for BS. This is a show where an actual whale, it looks like the whale is crashing into the gym, and this stuff is wild. And I've seen some simple. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Well, Jason, thank you so much for calling in. Is there one more thing you want to say before you go?
Yeah, really quick, I would like to touch on the beaches opening in Florida. I'm here in St. Petersburg, Florida. They did open our beaches today, although it was rainy. I didn't go with the kids, but several people I know went. Our Florida beaches, honestly, they've never really been closed. I mean, they can close the public part, but
they can put a closed sign,
especially on the Gulf Coast. What was that?
They can put a closed sign, but that doesn't mean people are going to... I went into a park yesterday that said it was closed.
Well, what happens is that most of the places are private anyways. Like, so the hotels or the condos or whatever, all of the public access is lined right up next to. So you see the cops come and you just jump, 3 feet over in the sand and say, well, I'm sorry, I'm on private property. So they did open them today for a little while. People went out, but when like all the other people that don't live on the beach, because I'm about a quarter of a mile away, I guess that it was just too much for them to handle, so they tried to shut it down right away and all of this. But, Florida's a different place, and we face death like several times a year, at least once a year, looking right at hurricanes. I mean, we're not phased down here. It's like, bring it on. We do this all the time. Our stores, our shelves being empty, that's all the time here. After Hurricane Irma, we went 5 weeks without water or electricity. I'm making like beans over fire in the front yard. That's how we live daily. So, it's not a whole lot. People in Florida are super different than anywhere else. I'm from Ohio, so I know the difference, but they will never really close.
Well, there's one more thing.
Beaches. I think it's just impossible.
There's one more thing before you go, and I don't know if Dex pulled this up to kind of relate it to this, but we were talking about this earlier, and I tweeted this out earlier. There's a new cryptocurrency patent by Mr. Gates that is essentially it tracks your body. So can you explain what this is?
Okay, so it took me 2 hours to read the whole entire thing, and I sent it in, so it should be on the website. It's called the 060606, which I know, right? Why use those numbers, especially at these days? But basically the naysayers are saying, oh, it's like a Fitbit or whatever. It can actually, whether you're sleeping or awake, no matter what you're doing, it can actually tell all of your body functions, all of your organs, all of your blood, your brain waves. It can tell your emotions, all of these things. It's unbelievable. It's about a 2 hour read, though. I'm not going to lie. It's really, really long. But this is what I was saying earlier when I said they're trying to make our bodies a device. And then we want to talk about, Mark of the, everybody knows that.
Okay.
This is definitely that technology.
Okay. Okay. So you know how nobody knows who made crypto, right? I think I'm starting to see who made crypto. And I'm on a decentralized crypto platform right now over on DLive.
Mm-hmm.
I like the system, but nobody's ever truly known who created it, and it's been a mystery. And I don't get how literally governments they're using a dollar BTC or whatever. They made an actual dollar BTC on a platform that nobody truly knows who made. And I'm starting to think that this crypto is actually going to play a part in a bad way too. People say that it was a good thing and that it will be decentralized and they won't be able to track it, but it also could be used in a bad way. And that's what they just did here with this. They use the cryptocurrency system to track your hands. Think about if you, in the future, if you got paid at a job at a warehouse, and Dex was the one who said this. Think about this. You are lifting a box so many times and it takes that action. It would count how many times you lifted that box a day and pay you based on how many boxes you moved, based on your arm movements, which they've tracked with these sensors that go back into the cryptocurrency wallet. That's insanity, and this is real life. It's absolute insanity. Well, thank you, Jay Stone. I love you.
Blockchain. Well, it talks about a lot of the blockchain, and it's just a big thing. But it's actually talking about how you'll get rewarded when you do the right thing. So, say they gave you the task of helping a lady across the street, or any task, right, that you're supposed to do, like the boxes. You get a reward. So if you do what it tells you to do and it knows your body's doing that, it's just going to zip over your blockchain cryptocurrency right to your body. It's unbelievable. I just want people to really look into it. But that's probably on the website. I put that in there too.
That is absolute nuts. People are saying, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. All right. Well, thank you so much.
I love you guys so much. I love the Foogle fam. And, everybody come over to Discord. That's where I'm at all the time, every day. So I just wanted to tell, you, Adam and Dex, you guys are awesome. I love you guys. And I love the whole Foogle fam. Well, so thank you so much for taking my call.
And thank you, by the way. Thank you for doing the work you are in Discord, creating new rooms. So there's, so it's truly equal as far as letting everybody in. We're going to make sure to do that as well.
Yes.
I thank you. We'll make sure to figure out some way to do that. Thank you, Jay. Thank you to all the mods here tonight.
All right, Adam.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. And then up next, we have Storm. Storm is next. Storm, you are live on Marfoogle News. Go.
Hey, Marf. How are you?
Good. So let me pull up your card first. It's pretty crazy. It's now you've been listening to the show in the green room, and let's see here.
Sure.
It's pretty crazy what she's talking about. It's nuts that's real. Now you're calling from to Kentucky about a dream about current events last year and insights on this dream. So go ahead and tell us what you saw.
Sure. Yeah. So I've had dreams since I was a child, about end times events, those sort of things. And this last June, it was June 12th, I dreamed of this current situation, the CV situation, but it was actually, in the dream, it was like a mystery flu. None of this made any sense until all this started happening. So I was completely caught off guard as to what was going on, but I knew there was something, like this little piece of paper. I'd taken a picture of it with my phone in order to timestamp it. So if anyone ever questioned my validity, I could show them this and be like, yeah, God showed me this. And so I dreamed there was like this mystery flu that was making everyone ill. And it was the entire world. This wasn't just a one little place event. And people were burning their money in this big cauldron, like they were dumping it in by the bales. And the thing I took away from that aspect was that money had become worthless. It was more of a sort of a symbolic thing in the dream. But now we've seen, and as Dex was talking about before I got on the phone with you, he was talking about that they had actually been burning money in that country that this supposedly started. And I had not seen that. I had seen where they were throwing money from their flats and things like that. But one thing that stood out as well were these numbers. And as soon as I woke up, it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up from this dream. I wrote it down. I felt it was utmost importance. And so this one thing that stood out was Flagstaff, Arizona. As specific as I'll get out, it was Flagstaff, Arizona. And it gave me these numbers. It was like 121, 123, 127. And I was like, what does this mean? And so I went on Google Earth trying to find coordinates maybe that might link up to. And so I came to find out that it was like a street there in Flagstaff. And so when I zoomed in on it, within just a few miles of one another, there's a naval observatory, and there's also the Lowell astronomical observatory. And so when you started talking about this big ball of something bigger than the Earth, I guess it's okay to say comet, I was like blown away because years before this dream, I dreamed about something like that happening, only it was in like September or something. But anyway, to make a long story short, I dreamed about those numbers, and that's the thing I come to. Well, then there's this other word that popped up, and I couldn't really figure out what the word was exactly. And so there was, I wasn't sure. It was like Ixus or something like that. And then I come to looking around on the web, and I come up with Icarius. Well, there's a project Icarius on the MIT website, and it is it's something to do with
we just talked about this
asteroid.
We just talked about this too.
I'm sorry.
We just talked about Icarus 2 nights ago, and I almost want to say Icarus
You're
is
kidding me.
No. Dex, do you remember what we talked about with Icarus? Icarus, Icarus, and it was, oh my gosh, it is. You guys in chat, help us out. You know that we just talked about this. So go ahead, keep talking about it. I guarantee you chat is going to remember specifically. It sounds like an Egyptian god name too, but we talked about this just 2 nights ago. But keep going.
I think the thing that really set me off, that made me remember it, is this little piece of paper. I had it slid up under my computer, under my laptop next to my bed. And I seen something. I was reading Drudge or some, I think it was Drudge, and they were talking about the Queen was fleeing her palace. And that was one of the things on my dream, was that she was ill or had an illness. And I didn't know, I thought it may be tied to the mystery flu thing. Well, this is the more peculiar part of this, and I'm going to word it carefully. An alphabet agency were trying to have another something that happened about 18 years ago. I think everyone is well aware of what that event was. The whole world saw it in New York. And it was another event like that. And that was the rest of the dream. But then a week later, and I didn't write this part of the dream down, it involved T-Man. He was standing with one leg in the ocean and one on a beach. And I mean, he was standing there healthy, everything was great. And there was a shadow of a man standing behind him. And that man, I had this overpowering feeling that he would be our next leader, and that person is now the second in command. And I was in the water gathering up these. I'm trying to word this carefully because I know how you guys are about things, and I don't blame you. I was gathering up these things that had not exploded, and they had the U.S.'s name stamped on it and China's name stamped on it. And directly after that, I dreamed of a volcano, and I was driving, and the road was melting under the wheels of the vehicle. And that's all I have. But I can tell you that every bit of this part of this dream has come true, and I am blown away. I mean, if I had never believed in God, our Creator, I have no doubt now. And I wasn't looking for signs. I wasn't looking for none of that. But I had this dream, and it was June 12th of 2019. And I can send you the picture with the timestamp if you want to see it. And I just want to say I thank you for your show. I think there's a lot of validity to the things you're talking about. And those out there that are calling you a fearmonger, I think that's silly. We all need to be questioning the things that are happening around us. We're living in times that are unlike the other time.
So you know that when people call somebody a fearmonger, one, that says that they're afraid, but two, that means they're trained. That means they're literally. You realize when you call somebody a fearmonger and fearmonger this, fearmonger that, you've actually been trained to do that. And I've proved this with documents from the CIA. You will literally go through this and you go, holy crap. They created the fearmonger. They created conspiracy theorist as part of way back when JFK. They trained you to think anybody questioning these kind of things was a conspiracy theorist or a fearmonger. And they've made culture think that, it's bad to talk about this. It's not bad. Anybody can talk about this. We should be talking about this. We should be looking right in the face. By the way, the stuff you're talking about, which I kind of got caught up on that Icarus thing because I just popped up. And one thing I realized is that on the Space app, as we were watching these rockets launch, Icarus was a launch back in 1967, I believe. And it was,
okay.
Get this though, it says, this technological fantasy, the product of the MIT students' system project and the inspiration for the 1979 film Meteor, presents a plan for avoiding a hypothetical collision between Earth and the Apollo asteroid, which of course now we have Apophis, Apollo asteroid, Icarus. Oh, Apollo class. Okay, Apollo class asteroid, Icarus. So they're saying that this is a meteor which sweeps by every 19 years within a few million miles, a near miss in astronomical terms. Collision with a 4 billion ton rock would create a catastrophe equal to the destructive power of 500 billion tons of TNT. Prevent tidal waves from washing away the coasts of North America and Europe, and shock waves from fracturing the Earth's substructure. So it says the Project Icarus plan calls for 6 100 megaton hydrogen booms to be ready for liftoff in sequence with Kennedy Space Center by 6 Saturn V rockets in an attempt to push the asteroid off course or smash into harmless debris. So this is straight out of the movies, but this is the real thing, or at least the real theory that they had if this was to happen. And this was way back then. Now we still have the same thing. That's still kind of our plan, other than like solar sails and all this other stuff. So it's really freaky. And we could live in the age that could get smacked by a huge asteroid, or at least if that's what, if it exists.
To extrapolate upon that, one other thing, that one caller, a couple callers back, was talking about Mr. BBB 333 or whatever. the thing they were talking about was what happened about a month ago when they were covering up the impact over in Africa, I think it was. So, I'm wondering if that isn't related to this thing that's coming at us. There's pieces that's, it's pushing forward onto Earth before it arrives, I mean, it's just, to me, it seems, it all seems to be lining up, and I don't feel like I have some special psychic power, ability, whatever, prophetic stuff. I'm not that kind of person. But this dream, I don't usually write dreams down, but this one was so specific. And I have to say, man, I'm shaken. I'm shaken by it, and other people, I hope, will listen to what we're saying, that we're not just fear mongers. We're trying to bring on the truth to people, that there are things going on that aren't quite what they seem, and that's not a bad thing. And we're in the age of censorship, unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. I've been researching now since probably around 2000, and I've never in this time period seen anything like the level of censorship, the hate-filled divisiveness of people with political agendas. It's like a left-right cult. You're either in this cult or you're in this cult.
Well, that's because it was the beginning. Okay, so what you witnessed in the last 10 years was them create this, and it was all part of what is going on right now. This was all part of the plan. There's all sorts of things that are going on. So I understand. We do have a caller right behind you, so I do got to let you go. But I do appreciate your call, Storm, and I would love to talk to you again, okay?
Hey, I appreciate you, and you guys have a great night. All you Marf people. Bye-bye. All
right, thank you so much. Also, Storm does not sound like the kind of guy that's like, would you like to hear about my dream? You see what I'm saying? Like, he's somebody that, for him, I bet even in his family, for him to go, I had a dream. Can I tell you about my dream? They would go, this, tough, rough and tough guy, he's talking about his dreams. If you met him at a gas station, you wouldn't think, he's got a dream journal. Because so many people are having these kind of dreams now, and I think they're the people that are kind of connected. And I know that sounds crazy, but I did watch the video somebody shared with me with Dr. Batar and someone else, but one of the doctors did make a great point that they can actually read brain waves from outside your brain. And what that means is that this brain and this skull cannot contain the waves coming out of your brain. We're electrical impulses. That's why I always tell people about earthing. In fact, that's literally why I actually tried it, and I thought, this is crazy. This isn't going to be something. But again, we are made of electricity. Our bodies are our central nervous system. So when he said that, as far as the brain and this is all not contained, something is connected. We are connected in a way. What they were saying, though, is that starting tomorrow, this gentleman claims that he has military connections, and that he's like, it doesn't matter, but something's going to happen tomorrow, April 19th, to where at 11 p.m. we need tonight or something, I think, that we need to all be positive and put it out there, because we are heading into an evolution of some sort, because it's going to be such a big event. But they were basically talking kind of like a law of attraction type thing. One thing that I've seen a lot of arguments for is that you cannot be Christian and have the law of attraction. I think they can completely be on the same plane. I think that you can also think positively without being New Age either. Some people that I know have gone like way off the deep end with New Age stuff. But again, there are some things that aren't in that classification and people think they are. As far as thinking positively, I think that that's something that we could all do. We can be positive thinking Christians. If you're a Christian or whatever religion you are, there should be nothing holding you back from thinking positive thoughts. Essentially, in Christian, That is trying to attain what you're supposed to be. Somebody who does not have bad thoughts. Of course, we can't. Your brain, without even you trying, has nasty thoughts. Even if you're the most amazing Christian person, there's thoughts where somebody cuts you off and you want to punch the guy in the face in your head, right? You can't stop those. You can't stop, even if you're a parent, you can't stop the disturbing thoughts of accidentally dropping your child or something. You have flashbacks, you know what I mean? Where you see it happening and you grab your kid real close. I have that all the time. When I step at the top step of the stairs, your brain envisions your baby dropping or something, and maybe it's some sort of instinct, like to make you think, oh, grab her even closer, you know? I always have that thought, like I've seen it, or if you're somewhere high, like, you know, it's just those thoughts are there and they're not going to stop. But positive thought and putting positivity out there, it should not be something. Really what gets in the way is people's anger, people's problems, people's only stuff. Because if you think about it, why are people assholes to everybody? It's because they got something going on inside themselves and they take it out on everybody else. And no matter what you want to say, something happened to you that day that made you an asshole to somebody else. And the smart people, they know when they're doing it. Sometimes they'll be an asshole and 30 seconds later and go, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I'm having a bad day. It's not your fault. That's happened to you and you and you and everybody here. But if we can work on and actually practice being positive and not talking crap about people, even if we hate them, even if we hate the way they look, the way they talk, the way they seem, we can try. I'm not perfect. There's people I don't like, but we can work on it. We can literally work on it together and as a people. And that's why this group has gotten bigger, is because that's what I've pushed since day one. And I think it's working. I'm not saying it's perfect, but we're trying. And do I judge people? Yes. I'm trying not to. Do I dislike people? Yes. But we can work on that, and we can work on it together. So I hope you guys know I mean that with all my heart. Okay, so we've got Tiffany. Tiffany, you are live on Marfoogle News. What is going on? Tiffany.
Hello, Marv, and thank you for accepting my call. And yes.
Of course. What's going on?
You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Okay, so thank you guys, everybody, the Mark family. And I live here in Jacksonville, Florida. I actually live on the beach. I'm married to the military, so the validity of the gentleman that was just speaking before me, I can attest to some of the same exact things because of my affiliation with the military and my husband's top secret security clearance, and now my daughter, who is at the infamous Top Gun school in northern Nevada. She's an air traffic controller. But to the first article that you spoke upon at the beginning of broadcasting, which was the beaches opening up here in North Florida and St. Johns County. Last week.
Hello?
With CV,
wait a second. Hold on.
It's in the water. It's in the ocean. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I missed a part of that. It cut out. Maybe it didn't cut out for you guys at home, but it cut out for me. Can you say that one more time, back about 15 seconds?
Yeah. Yes. So if you go to Dr. Oz's website, last week, he, along with scientists, along with some OSHA representatives, they had agreed one of the main reasons why the beaches were closed was because they found evidence that when the waves crash against the shoreline, that's the ocean's way of sneezing. And so the ocean is carrying coronavirus according to their top scientists. And so when it hits the beach, that aerosol mist is carrying CV, is carrying CV. And so here in North Florida, our cases are extremely low. For us to be the largest landmass city in the United States with 2 military bases here, our numbers are extremely low with CV. We only have, as of today, as of right now, we only have 15 deaths here in North Florida in this whole large area. The majority of the people hospitalized with CV are patients that are 65 years and older. Yes, there have been some going in that are younger and even my age. I have an underlying health condition, which is lupus. So being that I live on the beach, I have stayed in because every time I've even tried to go out to the mail, my throat starts to get raspy and sore, and I have breathing problems because with lupus, it attacks your organs. It attacks your lungs is the first thing it attacks. So ARDS for me is something that's ongoing throughout the year. So I have my own breathing machine and everything to treat here if CB were to surface. But my thing is they just opened up the beaches. No one abided by the social distancing, stay 6 feet away. It was only supposed to be open for biking, exercising, swimming, surfing, and fishing. No one to bring coolers, no one to bring towels to sit down and lounge around. It's none of that. They didn't do any of those things, and people came out in the masses. You saw Jacksonville Sheriff's Office riding up and down the beach, but they did not enforce anything. Prior to them opening up the beaches on Friday, 5 p.m., they were heavily policing the beaches. They arrested 2 gentlemen and heavily fined them, and they're still in jail right now.
Now, ma'am, I don't know if there's anything you can,
have scientists,
ma'am. I don't know if there's anything you can do, but your phone is constantly clicking, click, 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 click. It's cutting out. Are you on a Bluetooth speaker?
Yeah, it's. No. I'm again, because of the top secret clearances that my husband and my daughter hold, along with Secret Service showing up at my house twice. I'm being heavily monitored on everything that I say. So I'm trying to be careful on what I'm saying because I know that I'm being monitored and watched and everything else. So what part did you not get?
Well, I mean, it was just a constant ticking, which, it was kind of like that one call. So, but what are you saying that you kind of lost me when you said the ocean is like a sneeze? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yes, they had OSHA had their including NOAA, and they did an interview with Dr. Oz to confirm why they were so strict at closing the beaches down. Because when the waves crash onto the shore, that's like the ocean sneezing. So the mist in the aerosol carries CV. And so that's why it spread so fast in South Florida, because the mayor in South Florida was not in quick response in shutting down the beaches there. He wanted to make money off of the spring breakers. And so here in North Florida, we still have not reached 1,000 cases. For us to be the largest landmass city in the United States, 2 Navy bases here, we still not have reached 1,000 cases, and we've only had 15 deaths.
Okay, but I guess the secret information, though,
we've got it under control.
Let me ask you this: since you've got somebody with top secret clearance, is there stuff that you can tell us other than what was on Dr. Oz?
Yes. There's a lot of stuff that I can tell you, but that would have to be sent through an encrypted email, because I've also got some of the same things that you got set up in place because they do not want this information to get out to the masses. So I can give you a plethora of information, like 18 years worth of information, including the Icarus topic you guys were talking about. I have an uncle that was actually working that project.
Okay,
so I have lots of information and lots of things that I'm trying to figure out a way to share this with the masses without putting my daughter in jeopardy, because she's still active duty, and where she is now, like, she's at a semi-isolated duty station, and they are that's big Navy where she is. If we were to go to war, the big Navy air toys that we use come from where she's located. She sends them out. She tells them where to go. She brings them back and lands them.
Well,
Not to mention that her base is only 6 hours up the road from area. You know what?
51. I guess
Yes.
can you throw something out? Can you throw something out that would? Can you throw something? Excuse me, ma'am. Can you throw something out like a date or something that just a day or a day in the next couple weeks that you might have heard about something happening, or is there any?
Yes, there's several things that are moving around, especially with the military and things that are changing rapidly. I will tell you this. CV was, in my opinion, was weaponized to kill two birds with one stone, because I'm also an environmental scientist. One is the population on this planet is out of control. We're at 8 billion people. This planet was not meant to sustain 8 billion people. It was only meant to sustain 550 million people, which these inscriptions and how to maintain a balanced, healthy human life along with nature on this planet is on the Georgia Guidestones in Georgia, where supposedly no one knows who built those, but those are some great rules, because those are the things that are keep things on this planet in balance with humans, animals, and nature. You know, so with CV, you take care of the population, you know, and we have been seeing this as me as an environmental scientist, I have been seeing a major reduction in CO2, especially in the areas like China, who heavily produce it way more than we do. You can see the map where everything was at a standstill. It's like nature just bounced back real quick, and the air quality was so much better. You know, not only that, this is the other bird that they needed to kill with this one stone. The old economic system, paper money and the old ways of running business, that's not going to work with 2020 and algorithms and artificial intelligence. It's just not going to work. It's clashing right now. That's why we're having all these problems that we're having, because you're still trying to mix old money with cryptocurrency. You can't do that. Cryptocurrency was created out of thin air, you know. So this is a change into a different direction, a shift. And like you said, positivity, think positive, be positive. That also helps you stay healthy. Lupus is a gut disease. Your gut is your control center, not your brain, because whatever you put in your mouth, it sends those chemicals and signals to your brain, and then your body begins to react. So if you don't have your Houston control center, aka your gut, everything is going to be out of whack. You're going to listen to what the powers to be say, and you're going to fall into the trap with them. But if you are wise and you take care of your body as a temple, everything else will play. It will come into play. Just like with hydrochloroquine. I was on that. People don't realize that's an immunosuppressant.
I got you. Be careful saying that, though. People that are even mentioning that word, ma'am,
and we don't know the research.
Ma'am, can you let me speak? Mm-hmm. Please try not to say that word. 2 channels today just got deleted for even saying that word.
Okay.
The left does not want that word out. I don't know about that word, and I know that T-Man can say it.
Well, yeah.
The president can say it all over YouTube, but I can't. In fact, one of my buddies lost all of his PayPal accounts.
Yeah, I know.
Lost all of his store, his entire store. He lost everything.
And it's like,
it's pretty crazy what they're doing. They don't want the truth out.
It's ridiculous. I'm very,
Well, ma'am,
I'm trying to be mindful of everything. But
I hear you. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to. I would like to talk to you offline then, because if there is some stuff, I give everybody a chance. As far as, you know, I saw a couple of people say, "Oh, this is ridiculous" or something at the very beginning. But everything you've said after that, I'm pretty sure that's pretty accurate. I mean, that's what I've talked about the pollution and everything else. So I appreciate you calling in. Again, you know, this is a crazy time, Tiffany. So thank you for your call.
It is, and I just want any of your Florida listenings that are listening to you or watching. If you live here in Florida, just be mindful of your own life and your own health as far as them opening back up the beaches, because according to the research, you know, like I said, when the raves crash onto the beach, it's like the ocean sneezing. And they did confirm that TB is in the aerosol when that happens. So people, please practice social distancing. If you don't have to go to the beach, I mean, yes, it's a nice place to go, especially when we've all been quarantined. But if we want this to stop and not, take over or any more lives lost or anything like that, everybody just be mindful and be aware of certain things and just use common sense and logic. It goes a long way.
Okay, well, you have a great night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Yeah, no, I totally understand. The waves part, I think that's where people turned off. But I mean, the rest of what she said was, I never want to. I always give people the benefit of the doubt. As far as we always try to say, then if we can give us some stuff, and I don't blame people, but I've never actually experienced that though, where they had the clicking. That is weird because I did know somebody who was actually having issues with their phone, and later on, like 6 months after I talked to him, they ended up finding out that he was essentially trying to hide money through his businesses and things, and they were tapping him, and that is what his phone sounded like. And anytime you would call, his house phone actually sounded like that. It's pretty crazy. Thank you. I saw a couple people. Yes, I am. And I always give people, somebody says she's, yes. Okay. Well, the Georgia Guidestones, I know that would trigger people, but again, you shouldn't be triggered by anything people say, just say, okay, cool. You think that. I know that right when she said the Georgia Guidestones and saying that that's a good thing that 500 million people, technically, and this is how they think as well, technically that is kind of correct though. If there was less people, a lot of the people now don't realize that pollution and humans do mess up our earth, even if that's not the cause of our planet, having all these problems. Because I know people don't believe this or don't believe that. Even if it wasn't, humans are pigs. They disrespect the planet, period. I mean, you guys have seen it. People litter, just throw garbage, and animals come up and pick it up. I actually have, it's like a trend that people are like, no, we're not responsible for anything. And that's irresponsible too. You have to understand, human beings we're pigs. I always left places like campgrounds and things like that. And when I would camp out in the woods, I would always leave it nicer than, when I got there. That was always a rule my mom and dad always taught me. But a lot of people don't, and they just disrespect. And then we throughout the 100 years that we've kind of been in industrial age, there was numerous chemicals that were absolutely horrid. I mean, aerosol in itself, there was all sorts of bad stuff. But again, not saying, that's again why we do our little disclaimers. So, boom, boom. You guys know what I mean. All right, Dex, absolutely great show.
Yeah, it was. And,
it was a great show.
It's good that we get opinions from lots of people and lots of varying opinions, right? I mean, that's the whole point. We want to hear from everybody. We need to take everything in. And, sure, I mean, the Guidestones go against what a lot of people believe from the sense of, procreation and to achieve that, there would have to be like this big negative thing that would have to happen, right? So I can see how there's a big consternation with that versus, okay, well, if our population was only 1 million on the entire earth, then you could look at those and say, wow, if 500 it would be in harmony, or would at least not be out of harmony. So, but yeah, of course, then we all go back to who wrote them, and there's all sorts of theories on that. So totally get it. But it's great to hear from everybody and hear from the different opinions. Well,
it also shouldn't trigger. If she says something like that, that shouldn't trigger people either. And people shouldn't be mean to her afterwards or in chat or whatever. We should all be able to believe stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
she's a lovely lady.
I know, very nice, and a good chunk of that was incredible. So, you know what I mean? So we guys just got to be tolerate. different views, and that's really hard. And the only reason we're saying that, the woman's probably going to think, oh my gosh, no. I saw in the chat, I saw all the people saying this and this and that. It's a controversial view, and I think she knows that. Just like you have a controversial view that your family probably thinks you're crazy. Remember that. Remember this whole thing, this whole show is supposed to be where a safe space where we can come and people don't think we're crazy. If you get past that initial trigger, you guys can get along, and you might be able to get along on a different wavelength. You guys get what I'm saying? That person could still, break down your door and save you from somebody. You know what I mean? If it gets to as bad as we think it will, I mean, if it ever gets that bad. Scott Dixon again. My lady works for Lockheed Martin. I work for Foogle with a G. Gosh, Scott, I did not know that. I knew you were tech. I knew that. Scott Dixon again. I guess you work at Foogle, so I guess that is okay for you. But again, you don't have to. And thank you so much for your support. It really is appreciated, especially now. Jasenia, proud Cuban American. Thank you for the $1 super chat. I appreciate you. You can't write something unless you do two. I always think, why don't they write a sentence? Same with Debbie. Thank you so much. That was very generous of you. And then Herd Bowl, you can always write a message on those as well. Cindy Harmon, thank you for subscribing. Wolfs55, thank you again for your support. Sam the Man says, Truthflix on YT. Microsoft owns patent for Mark. And of course, talking about of the beast. Sam the Man also said, see, quote, Demon Hunter on YT. Awesome channel. I think I've seen him. I think somebody else actually linked me to him in Twitter. T. Fisher, all kidding aside, I appreciate you, Adam, Dex, and Supermods. Thank you for all the effort and hard work. Much loves, blessings. T. Fisher, by the way, you can get on Twitter and do that kind of thing. You can write a message. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start saying random tweets. If you want to write a message like that, then you won't have to donate. You can just put a tweet. Just tweet me. Ogre Dad, Amanda Daly, thank you, says Corey Man X is live in Austin, Texas. Stand with him. Again, that was Corey Man X is live in Austin, Texas. Stand with him. Vasily Yadek says, can't stop looking at the sky. I don't blame you. The sky has been so weird, and you guys totally agree. I know you do. All over the country, no matter where you are, there's been so many weird things up in the sky. Also, we've got the Leonid. Apparently, over this whole week, we're going to have tons of meteors. Vasily Yaduk says that again, can't stop looking at the sky. Jeanette LaPierre from Canada says, I lurk. Mosquitoes carry viruses. Debbie, again, thank you. Donald Sweeten, thank you for following. James Calloway, thank you for the $20 super chat. You can always write a message when you do that. Cameron Ward, thank you. Quiet Storm 1323 says, have Dex check his email. Quiet Storm, by the way, while you guys are here, I need a lawyer for government stuff. So if you know government stuff, we are talking to one lawyer. I would like to get multiple opinions. We want you, if you know specifically a lawyer to look at the executive orders. A lot of people are saying that, oh, T-Man has done this on purpose because now he's got all of these executive orders, the ones that Obama put in, and this is all part of the plan because now he controls this, controls that, control that. I am under the impression, and I'm not an expert, that's why I'm trying to get one, that he's not in that power because he's signed over that power to FEMA. So FEMA would be in charge of those. But the general QAnon thing, and this isn't Q's view, this is what they have taken from Q's posts. That's the QAnon group. So if you're somebody who thinks that, that's fine. I just want to, for myself, I want to do some physical research because I know Q doesn't just to say that straight up. People take Q's stuff, and it's always been like this, and they kind of make their interpretation. I want a lawyer to tell and go through this and tell us, Does that make do you think that would be a proper thing for him to do? If he wanted to control everything, vehicles, gas, land, water, everything, media, would he do that? Sign it over to FEMA? I don't know. And now that I said the F word, they're going to put a little wiki underneath. KCanon, 550 million population outed her as DS. That is right out of their playbook. Well, KCanon, we don't know. Interesting though. I'll have to watch that back. Koala from Jersey. Isn't it weird how they had all of these commercials about CV ready right away? Just saying. Well, I don't know. I've seen some production that was pretty quick, and I've done videography on the side for businesses, and I could throw something together pretty quick. Jesse Scorpio, which by the way, I haven't seen you in a bit. GMOs were made to feed the poor / everyone. It's BS, it's greed control, etc. It doesn't allow us to have food, water, etc. There's plenty if you can pay. It is now that we need to unite. Much love all. That was Jesse Scorpio. Great point. Cameron Ward, God bless all those who seek his truth tirelessly. Cameron Ward, thank you for the message and thank you for the support. Paul Crane, DT is still the president. Much love, guys. I like it. Ed Brown, thank you for your support. Barefoot Lass, super spectacular show. Koala from Jersey. Isn't it weird how they had all those ready? Ilea, by the way, I missed this the first time around. Says, you're creating a wonderful legacy that your daughters will someday look back at. And they will absolutely be so proud of their father. Thank you for bringing us all together. Love our Foogle fam. Ilea, thank you for that message. And there's so many cool things coming for the fam. Groups and things like this coming to the Discord. We are making sure that you guys have a really cool spot to talk about whatever you want without being called crazy. Luis Riviera says Deagle.com forecasts USA to be reduced to 100 million population by 2025. More ducks lined up now more than ever. Scary. Thanks, Marv. Where do those 260 million people go? That's what I want to know. What could knock them off? It's not this thing. Right? It's just, it's weird to see. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Tamara Baker, this is the new normal. Love my Foogle fam. Becky Trombley, thank you again for your support. Thank you for your service. Boom. Paul Crane, thank you. Cameron Ward. All right. Dex, I love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Great show.
Tuck Pup, man, so much to say. Retyped 5 times. 100 letters is never enough to put out some content. One love. Thank you, Tuck Pup. Jace93. Can you read our top 5 on DLive real quick? I can't see it from my side.
Yes, Adam, I've got it. We've got the top contributors: Tuck Pup, Techno Gypsy, Sammy Lee, JD Blazed, J Dens, Kelly 2334, Global Impact, Moxie Lady, Michael T44J Beal. Thank you all for being the top contributors.
Yeah, and thank you. And it matters to us. It's not a one-man show, so thank you guys for supporting broadcasts like this. We want to bring on more people, so thank you for supporting. You don't have to, and it will never be anything that you will have to pay for. So I appreciate you guys. Mystic Being 22, GMOs have insect DNA. Jace93 says, thank you, Dex and Adam, always sending prayers. And then let's see here. We've got, thank you for the show. Great job, Lazulu Lady. People that did lemons, Latchkey Kid. We've got Andrea22, Enchanted by You, April Osborne, Smoky Mountain Gal, of course, both of our mods, Renegade Petey, Rixer Upper, Rock for Life, Seattle Starla, Cutie Pie Angelica. Thank you for saying Marf for GP the other day. If you guys are popping in somewhere, if you're lurking, make sure to just go, hey, Marfoogle for GP. Thanks. Mystic Being. And to Wesley. Thank you guys. Let's see here. It's time to go, and we absolutely love you. And remember, make sure to be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It's officially time for the shoutro. It's not a shout out. It's not an outro. It's a shoutro. Can't find the button there. That was the wrong button. Have a good night. That's the wrong button. Marfoogle the nose. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the Marfoogle the nose. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the Marfoogle the nose. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the Marfoogle the nose. Oh, da-ba-do-da-day. Oh, da-ba-do-da-day. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the Marfoogle the nose. 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 Oh yeah, got the bad boys out there, never clear. G&J, Marion, and the Latchkey, Sandra Lee, and the rest they say. Gonna bring it back in, you know we're day, all day, all night, and you gotta go by a Jojo Y and the Wawale. Gonna bring it back like I got to say. It's a melody with the melody. I see error with that medley. I'm about to bring it back with a shade noxious. Gotta go back and you never say yes. Gotta go back with a checker wire. Gotta go back like a Chicago Octors. I gotta bring it back like yeah. Gotta bring a dub bomb, yes, yeah, yeah. Crazy Coyote, rock for life. .TV and the rest of the right. Gonna bring the commies here and go down. Gonna bring a Trudy style and a grandma. Gonna go Stewie style. Gonna bring it back down with the Southern girl and the Chi-Town. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, gotta bring down and you know it Gonna bring it down and you know it A Robert's Ghost is gonna bring it down in a Yasa now with the Crystar. Gonna go real hard with the Crystar. Gonna bring it down with a real Crystar. Gonna bring it down with a real Crystar. Marfoogle the nose. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the Marfoogle the nose. Saying in the minds in my head like a whole I love the Beagles. I'm gonna bring it down like a Gina here. I with the sea at the starlight and the other one. Johnny Doom with the Apollo. A Trinity Red Bull April body. I'm gonna bring it down like we sing it down. And the Bruce Wayne, all night, never gonna give you all that exchange. Marfoogle the nose. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the nose. Jigga wide going back on the down. Little Red Bull and the rest is now. DD Triple D Dixie Sour. Gonna bring it back like this taste sour. Do it, boo it. Gonna go kung fu with the C-84 and the 84G. Gonna bring it back like yeah. Gonna do it like you've never seen God. Ooh. Gotta go back with the one need to go. Old base 77 with the go back. Gonna bring it down like you never know now. And no lies you lady and no Brennan Phoenix cow. And you bring it right back like you gotta go hit it with the dot to your hand. That's not push, not J Mary with a brutal legend on the side. With the I love giggles and the sand mix side. Gonna bring it down like we stop it on now. With a beep beep biggeroo now that gray. Captain style, gotta bring it right back. Gonna do it just like that. Clan mama gonna bring it down like you do it. Gonna be bringing it like a lucky ticket to it. No, I never lost a bell and I'll bring it right back. Gonna go back just like that. Yeah, I never lose my cowbell going on the shower. Well, I'm about to go back now, it's now well. Cause I did the cowbell and you all love it with the old bass. 777 and I'll bring it back down. Gonna love it now. Gonna do it high and I bring it back. I gotta hit the drums and I gotta bring it back. Oh now guys, I gotta bring that. Gotta bring the ante with the global impact. Gotta do it like I say now. Ha! Gonna give you a big long lover. Gonna go back like a rusty bumper. Gonna hit it like I never did before. With the April I was born in the go store. And I love you. Got a lady green, nice sweet. And a 7-7 with the everybody wanna get it. And I'm gonna bring it. Going back sing it. Gonna hit it back around and like you get it. About to do it, everybody knows that we get it. Casey Anon with the Devon Star Dart. Roaching on done with the Paul Brain now. Cameron Ward and the rest of the barefoot lads with the Jesse Scorpio and the Koala from that Jersey. And I'll bring it back now. About to do it down in you if you don't now. You know that the KC Anon is gonna be the top and they roaching around. They gonna hit it back like you never know now. We've got to bring it back like you do it on now. When we hit the button now we gotta come back around. And we've been doing it every day like we hit it around. And hey now that I heard Bell come Red Ward with the Coyote Storm. Gonna go down Ed Brown style with the James Calloway, Luis Riviera and the Ilea. Gonna hit it back like it was CC. Oh that next day Sam the man will bring it back down. And it goes and the sand in the with the beach cause they now open. T-Fish I thank you but I keep it up to yourself with the ogre dad in the arm and the daily Vasiliatic. Gonna bring it back now. Gonna hit it back now. Marfoogle the news. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the Marfoogle the news. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the Marfoogle the news. Marfoogle the Marfoogle the Marfoogle the news. Da-day, oh, da-ba-do-da-day, oh, da-ba-do-da-day. You're not in his bugger, no Edward showing in the wrist or the hugger. Big one 84 and got to bring it back. Gonna hit it back with a beat. Chugga, chugga, waka, waka, chugga, 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 waka. Na dee da, waka, waka, waka. Hey, about to hit it with the Bruce Wayne. I saw me 7572 and the way. Did you say my name? Kevin Dillinger. Gotta go back around and play another scene. And I ain't gonna stay down and out to the pie. With Angelica, with the Jojo A. 1, 2, 3 with the Tikawa. Gotta stand by. More Vader and the Melody. I'm about to say with the B calves with the C. Gotta bring it back like a little pill of G. BB, like I gotta see a knee with the ND. With the JCB, ain't gonna go see it with the short and seal. Then I'm Matthew Amesworth, gonna go back with the aims are. Oh, maybe your aims are. I'm about to go with Tommy is a here in the CV. I'm with the Southern girl, fight and claw. Gonna bring it back like I'm about to hear you with the glove. Gonna bring it back like I never give you love. Bobby James Cole, and I hit it like a hole in your head, like I'm going back with the Sammy Lee. Nanny is gonna bring it back like I see. And the stop ball music, and I got a gas electric, and the big grow grades, Cobblers cotton, and the batter, and the Marv Vader. Gonna bring it like a stool, and I hit it back now. Cause now I'm about to do it like a Lord Tim trial. I'm about to go back like I'm on trial. I'm about to do it now with the John Nessa cow. And I'm gonna go sour with the off to a bitch. Hey, waka, 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 waka. I'm about to hit it back like I never know a chaka. Hey, Lizzie Lou, who am Miss 84. Gonna bring it back soft, early, and tenderly. Gotta see exactly what we do. Melody, have a high, have a high, have a high. Hey, high. Marfoogle and Masha. Hey, Mini 17. Hey, 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 hey,
Garth, come in here, man. Come on, Garth. Let's hit it on the way with Captain Fire Lady. Bring it back again. All day so shady. Proud Canadian. Gonna bring it saying, hey, congrats to the woman in the back. April was born, getting through all of that. On the way through your cancer. And all the way through all of that poison they put in you, and you survived, and the cancer didn't. So I know that you will arrive for the rest of your life, 'cause you survived. Outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams. Looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams. Looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams. Looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams.
Somebody special, coming back now. You got that Willie Z. Gonna say it all the way back with me with the everybody sees. He ate that check breeze. Gonna say these on that mofo. Where'd you go? Oh, I gotta say, oh man. 777 gotta go say. Hey, good mama, cool man, always. Gonna bring it back now, we stalling. I'm gonna say background calling. Heaven's calling, going back now. Hey, yo, and you got that crew. Gotta do everything like I am. A positive channel with the lucky ticket too. Gonna bring Sandma to the party. Clarity after dark party. Always got that baby at the back in the bag. Hey, oh yeah.
I like.
You like?
I like.
You like?
I like all the time, and I'm about to go back with the sippin' noodles. About to hit it back round like a Manchu doodle. I'm about to hit it back with the Johnny Bones. No, not with the phones. Yabba dabba sexy, Lisa Marie, Jim Jam Man, that rest J&G. Gotta bring it back like a Wentworth. Wanna see it back in the Wentworth. Are you doing it now? Like that's electric, see it now. And now that able-bodied tagger Diesel. Wanna see Diesel. I'm about to hit it back now.
Oh yeah.
I'm now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, now.
Oh yeah.
We hit it up now. We Marfoogles.
Marfoogle.
Marfoogles.
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 Marfoogles. Gonna bring it back like a what?
Marfoogle, man, Marfoogle. Marfoogle, and Marfoogle. It sounds like I'm swearing.
Marfoogle. 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 Marfoogle.
I'm about to go back to
I like the way they see Marfoogle. Gonna see it all day. BJ Blake. Ha ha. BJ Blake. Ha ha. BJ Blake. Ha ha. Southern girl gonna say. Dugga-dug-dug-dug. 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 I'm gonna say that word and uh-oh. Something happened. Something happened there. That's never happened in history there. Don't know what that was. I swear I don't. Uh-huh. Yup. Can't remember what number. Stop the show. I have to say hello to Aiden. Aiden, thank you so much for coming and watching the show. Aiden is a very unique name and not many people get it. Is it coming back now. Gotta bring it up, and I never have a cow. I'm gonna bring it back with the old love. It's measured by the hate that you have from above. And the British are coming, going back, knowing everything that they could have had. A roaching around, coming up and down. Gotta say, oh, oh, now go all the way back up and down. Da, 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 da. Hey, I want to say thank you to Scan Family, Jafar, and Puss in Boots, Bones, Joshua Bustamade, Anita Torres. Calm down, it's just me. Calm down, it's just me and the Mary Sharp with everybody that ever sees somebody special. Got the tunes, 88, 63, gotta see it's not my childhood sky. Thank you for being here with me. You know, got that breather. Yes, it's an asthma inhaler. Whoa, 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 whoa. So what we're doing next is a raid. This is where we raid another channel that has no idea we're gonna come. Sometimes they might swear because they're getting shocked by so many people. Sometimes they do this, sometimes they do that. But we always try to be nice. If they offend you, please make sure to turn off your computer. This time I don't think you'll be offended. In fact, I think you'll be extremely happy with the host. With the host. Stream. 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 It looks like we've got on down. Stream. 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 I don't know how it caught that. Going back around and now you gotta bop that. Going back around and you know that we're doing everything that you ever have on. You've got to see this guy dancer. Shots Tina right away. Call with the Tommy B. Got to see going now. You've gotta go back. Let's rate them now west. You gotta see it up, back down. You know me now. Constant buffering.